Now for some music to our ears. Now, the annual Conscious Companies Awards is an innovative initiative that recognizes conscious, ethical leaders and their organizations. This year's winners were announced earlier this month, with Young Hearts Africa Foundation taking home top honors in the NGO category, spearheaded by the man known as the singing heart surgeon, Dr. Wilhelm Lichtenberg. The foundation operates solely to raise desperately needed funds to pay for life-saving surgery and care required by children of indigent families. Dr. Lichtenberg joins us virtually from Cape Town this morning. Doc, thank you so much for your time this morning, and congratulations on your amazing work being recognized. Talk to us about the genesis of Young Hearts Africa.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity. You know, the idea was born after an incident I experienced as a junior trainee surgeon at Red Cross Children's Hospital in the early 2000s. I remember it distinctly. It was a Tuesday evening around 10 o'clock, and I had to tell a mother that that her daughter had made it through the operation. And this was purely because of the fact that the system had not allowed her to get the care she needed early enough. And I decided I needed to do something to help these indigent patients and to try and support the system. And that's where the idea was born.
Now, you say the system didn't allow for that little girl at the time to receive the work or receive the care that she needed. What, in your opinion, is the spot in the system that is letting our most vulnerable down?
Well, the entire system. You can't, I couldn't pinpoint a single spot in the system. Look, 85% of South Africa's population do not have private medical aid. In other words, they are completely dependent on a public healthcare system, which is dysfunctional, bankrupt, and totally unable to meet the needs of the population. So the people who do not have a medical aid are left to their own devices. Cardiac surgery is an incredibly expensive process. It's an operation costs in excess of 250,000 Rand minimum. And that is, nobody can afford that. Nobody has that kind of cash. So that's the problem.
Now, your ultimate goal is... My apologies. Your ultimate goal is to facilitate life-saving heart surgery for 1,000 additional patients a year over the next 5 years. That's a massive goal that you have in mind, but one that's really going to change so many lives and the trajectory of families who need it most.
Absolutely. It's not just the question of helping a child live a normal life once their heart disease has been corrected. It's the knock-on effect of that. And it's not just children, you know, it's not just congenital surgery. It's rheumatic heart disease is a very, very serious problem in sub-Saharan Africa. And in fact, there's research to show that that's an even bigger burden of disease than congenital heart disease, which is the most common congenital defect. The figures are almost impossible to compute or to comprehend. You know, we have one pediatric cardiac surgeon for every 2 million children in this country. If I tell you 85% of the population is dependent on the public healthcare system, that is just over 50 million people. We have 9 fully functional public healthcare cardiac surgery centers serving a population of 50 million. And in the rest of sub-Saharan Africa, it's much worse. It's been calculated that one heart operation would cost the equivalent of 27 years of income of the average South African. I mean, go figure that out for yourself.
Yeah, the maths doesn't make sense, but I'm sure you've seen in your organization people stepping up, organizations and companies stepping up to help you in this massive quest that you've set out for yourself in your organization.
Absolutely. We were very fortunate that we had a title sponsor come on board last year, Empath Laboratories, and they helped us start the program which we now have running at Red Cross Children's Hospital, which is our pilot program. We hope to expand that, of course. And then Pharmacodynamics is another company that came to the party. We've had a number of very generous individual donors, and we hope to build on that. And of course, the publicity which we received through some of our music projects have been very useful.
And we're just looking at some visuals now involving that music project, because in as much as you're a cardiothoracic surgeon by profession, I'm told you double up as a tenor talent as well. And as I've spoken to many people who work, especially in the pediatric sector, that your skills as a physician, as a surgeon, is only a part of the work you do, because when you're dealing with the hearts and lives of these little people, you do need to look after the entire being, don't you? How important is that, bringing that music into their lives and into their healing journey, hopefully after surgery? How important is that for the work that you do?
You know, you've actually touched on an angle which hadn't even crossed my mind. We were using the music as a quirky sort of left field angle to raise awareness and tell the story. And the fact that we've been able to partner with some high-profile individuals in that process has, of course, helped it. That is really just to try and attract the wider public's attention to sit up and listen to what it is we have to say and how dire and desperate the need is. Whether the music we make helps the people in their post-operative recovery, I have no idea.
Look, I'm not a scientist, but I believe that it does. But tell me about your singing. Do you get to show off your talents in the hallways that I'm sure often needs a bit of a lift at the hospital?
Oh, I'm very consciously trying to avoid singing in the hospital, you know. But I'm more of a bathtub dinner. But the music certainly has, because it's a quirky angle, people do take note, and it does help spread the word. When I sang the Welsh national anthem at a rugby international between South Africa and Wales last year, the following morning there were just over 50,000 hits on our website.
Amazing.
Cumulatively. So as I say, you know, that is effective. And having partnered with Sir Brian May, internationally, it's also raised some funds. I did an interview with a German radio station a couple of weeks ago. And when we were doing a fundraising drive a couple of months ago, the majority of the funds came from private small donations in Germany.
Well, long may you continue singing, and if it gets more little hearts mended, even better. The singing heart surgeon and founder of Young Heart Africa, Dr. Wilhelm Lichtenberg, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again for that award from the Conscious Companies Awards ceremony. We continue to wish you and your team at Young Heart Africa everything of the best.